So, two things. Suffering first then can be very much a blessing, even though it's not perceived in that way culturally. And then secondly, through your understanding of non-duality, of the nature of reality, and through choosing to live in accordance with it, and I know you say that it's a never-ending journey. To what degree, if your suffering was previously at 100%, where would you rate it now? I don't mean right now, I mean generally.
That's a straw man. He didn't say that, right? I mean, the inquisitor here, the what's it called? The moderator, whatever. It's not the sharpest tool in the shed, apparently, right? Um, but let's go in.
Yes. Okay. Simon, I'm reluctant to put a number on it, but let me say this: that when
I don't blame him, to be honest.
the suffering arises less and less frequently, and it lasts for less and less time, and fewer
I would like to understand what he means by suffering, right? If we can't, if only he can. I mean, I can experience colors, sounds, and so on, right? They're outside my mind, or they are they are representation of something outside my mind. Okay, if I have experience of pain, that is also outside my mind, but it's not so far outside that other people can experience my pain or my suffering or whatever that suffering is. He hasn't clarified what this is, as if, of course, everybody understands what he means by it, right? So there's also this. There's let's say brain, skull, body, and what is beyond body, right? The external, right? Now, when I'm referring to body and brain and so on, I'm still referring to the representation of what it is. But since experience is all I have, that's what I have to work with. In my opinion, that's why that is a good reduction base, right? In my personal philosophical opinion, right? So when I clarify that, there is certain aspects of that external world that only I have access to, which is, for instance, pain or hunger or tiredness or, these kinds of things, right? If I'm tired, I might look in a certain way that people usually connect with or correlate with tiredness, for instance, but it doesn't mean that they feel my tiredness, right? They sense my tiredness or experience my tiredness. So my body is sort of a between area, an area, between brain and that which is the external world where other individuals can be, right? Other individuals can be in my body, so to say, right? It's not in any fashion that I like to think of, right? Don't get carried away now, right? um, where was I going with this stupid story? Yeah, no, it's not stupid, but it's good to clarify that the body, it has there's certain circumference between the mind and the brain and the skull and so on, right? Because you can't say there is mind inside. You can't refer to it as a kind of experience because you can't experience mind, right? So how do we represent mind within your experience? Because experience is some kind of, experience. It's not mind, right? So it's like these terms sort of, it gets very quickly very confusing, right? So there has to be some strictness to it when you do this. But what I wanted to get at is his pain and suffering can never be of my concern, right? I don't want him to suffer. It's not like that. It's not that I don't care that he suffer, but it's not my problem, right? If I'm not dealing his suffering to him or pain to him or whatever, right? It's because it's purely subjective. He is in that suffering situation himself. And then that's also, along his line of, well, I need to figure this out. I'm suffering. I need to do something, right? Good idea. I mean, how would I be against that? But there's a difference between now I am going to take care of my own suffering and then I have found a explanation for everything, right? That's another leap, right? It's like saying, yeah, I'm going to take care of my own garden, and therefore I have explained the whole universe, right? This is a major leap, right? So I think I've seen this before, right? So there are aspects that are overlapping, you could say, in these attempts, but what I tend to deduce from this kind of approach is that I need to, in order to control the situation so I won't have whatever further suffering or whatever, I need to control everybody else so they don't inflict this kind of, and I could sort of start virtue signaling and say, yeah, you should behave like this, behave like that, in order to make sure that there's, as little suffering as possible. And therefore, in the end, by proxy, I will only suffer very little, comparatively, right? When I have convinced everybody they should live this way and understand the world this way. So it cycles into the idea that everybody else has the same kind of, which is a fine axiom. I work from the same axiom, right? Then if I get down to the basics and explain it, I might as well tell everybody else about it, right? Because I have come up with the explanation. And if they don't understand the explanation, I need to explain it to them, that there's something that they need to take care of. And I could be sympathetic to that, right? But one thing is that you have thought it through, or at least attempted to it. Another thing is, how do you go about presenting it to other people, right? Because then you are very likely going to hit a brick wall, which is, I'm pounding at that brick wall like, sometimes it's like, it feels like it's futile, right? It's like, why do I bother, right? But, I can't help it. So far, I can't help it, right? And so one of the reasons why I do these kinds of deconstructions, in order to, I appreciate anybody trying to tackle these kinds of thinking, right? Tackle philosophy. But if I can find something I consider a flaw or a bad reasoning or lacking of reasoning or conflating of terms or missing definitions and so on, I would like to point that out, in the hope that those listening might say there might be something to that, if they can grab their own tits and be self-critical, right? I might need to go somewhat back to the drawing board here, right? And start fresh. I can't just throw around words and thinking that people are going to eat that raw, right? It has to be argued in a fashion that invites people in, you could say, rather than saying, this is how it is, right? I have a PhD, right? It's superior hypothesis. It's not going to work, mate, right?
Experiences have the power to provoke it. Now, I would never say that it never happens. I can be triggered in a situation, and it can create an emotional resistance in me. That's what suffering is, emotional resistance. But I noticed that fewer experiences.
So the $10,000 question is, okay, so what is emotional resistance then, right? I don't understand what that is. It also this is annoying about when you ask for a definition, then you get some other terms thrown at you, and then, okay, would you mind then define those terms, as I alluded to in previous chapters here, right, or parts. And then people get sort of, I have defined it now. Aren't you satisfied? Are you trying to trick me or make me running around in circles in this, circus ring? No, because if you define something, define the term using terms. Well, then you need to define those terms, and then you need to define those terms, and infinite regression, or a long regression back to what I would say would be the reduction base, right? There might be a problem in the reduction base to the what we could call the external world, right, is the five senses. But if you experience pain and so on, they are also a part of the picture. But that's not the picture we're talking about when we're talking about the external world, as I pointed out, because they're merely within my body, right? As far as I can tell. So, okay.
Have that capacity.
Maybe I'm going a little too deep here. Let's just keep going, right?
They have to be quite intense. And so it happens less and less frequently. And when it does happen, when the experience of suffering is triggered, this understanding kicks in quite quickly. And I'm able to trace my way back to my essential being and its innate peace that lies behind, so to speak, the content of my experience.
How about you, Bernardo?
This is the point where any comparison between me and Rupert is... look, Rupert radiates peace. There was this once I took him for a walk around some shady areas of Amsterdam.
Yeah. We know what you're talking about.
Didn't lose his center.
Is he blushing, Rupert Spira there? Were they, smoking and, fornicating?
I'm not there. I don't radiate peace. I still have my anxieties. What did happen for me, and I'm extraordinarily grateful for that, because I think that's what makes all the difference. The banality, the meaninglessness that most people experience as their lives.
How do you know that? Most people? That is more than 4 billion individuals. So that's a bit of a, a claim, right?
That is completely gone for me.
Yeah.
I'm not in peace profound. Have my demons, have my anxieties, suffer with things that there's nothing I can do about, some of them even physical in my own body. But I never have that notion that all this suffering is for nothing, that life is meaningless, that everything comes to a total end and it's all for nothing. That I don't have. My life is infused with meaning. In particular...
Infused? So the meaning comes from somewhere else? Where does it come from? First of all, he hasn't described what meaning is, right? They haven't sufficiently defined what suffering is. And he's also alluding to pain. I suppose that I heard that he has tinnitus. Probably that would be it, right? So infused, it's just the term. It might be, bad selection of term. But infused, it's like it comes from somewhere else than from within himself, that he has sort of found his own meaning in things. But infused, it's still, but what are we talking about? It's like, I don't like this fluffy talk. I don't like this fluffy talk. Yeah, that's the best word I can find right at the moment, right? It keeps me interested, but I'm not getting any insight or any good understanding, but it keeps me interested. It's sort of, that's annoying, right? I want to keep understanding, but I'm not getting there, right? It's like, invited in, but stay in the, entree, right?
For the suffering is infused with meaning. Suffering is a great drive. It's what keeps us moving in the direction of depth. Otherwise, life would remain so shallow.
In direction of depth. Again, these fluffy terms, right? Oh, he loves to stay in this fluffy land, right?
We wouldn't be asking the deep questions.
And of course, the we is there. It's not him, it's we. It's always we. We are into this together, so you better, align yourself, right? Don't rock the boat. Rock the boat, da-da-da-da-da, rock the boat.
Rupert.
I feel compelled to say something here, and I've said it, Bernardo, to you before, but I want to say it again, that I think the fruit of this understanding is a peace on the inside, absence of suffering on the inside, and love on the outside. And when I say love, I don't just mean a warm, cozy feeling. When I use the word love, I mean the recognition.
Oh, there it was. Love. Love. Let's burn the candles and, kumbaya, right? Fuck off with your love, right? Love on the outside and pain on the inside. Oh.
That we share our being or our reality with everyone and everything. In other words, it is the felt sense of the understanding that we are speaking of here. So these two experiences are I would suggest, a fruit of this understanding: peace on the inside, love or beauty, oneness on the outside. And I have always felt with you, Bernardo, that that you share this understanding profoundly.
Are we going into brown nosing each other, or feeding the vanity, or oh, he's so great, yes, and he's so great. Oh, I love him more. I love him much as.
But that
yes, concentrate, close your eyes, and search your happiness.
The fruit of it, at least on the inside, has been delayed in your case. Why? Because, as you've just said, suffering
has been delayed? It's like, who the hell is doing that? No, this guy cannot be, have happiness. Yes, he must suffer some more. They are alluding to something, right? It's going to be revealed at some point, and then they'll spring the trap on you somehow, right? So you accept there is a bigger mind who has a will of its own. Like the ring in the Lord of the Rings, right? It's going to decide whether or not you're ready to understand the bigger picture, or you have to suffer some more, right? Fuck off, man. This is spiritual woo-woo shit, right?
Propels us to go deeper and deeper and deeper. It's the fuel for this investigation. And I think you have a unique role.
Oh, you have a unique role. Now I got to have the complete picture here. He's going to. Oh my God! Oh man, he's going to be Jesus of philosophy. That I didn't see that coming, man. Let's hear it.
Pulls us to go deeper and deeper and deeper. It's the fuel for this investigation. And I think you have a unique role in the world to share this understanding in a way that nobody else can, and in a field that nobody else can, and rather than a way, in a field, for instance, that I'm not qualified to speak in, the world of science. And for this reason, I feel that the fruit of this understanding, although I see it in you more and more over the years, but I feel the fruit of this understanding is being withheld from you precisely to keep you motivated to do what you are supposed to be doing in the world.
Shit, man, right? It has been withheld you. The mind outside has held it back because you're the chosen one. And Neo, you're going to save the world. You're going to be Jesus. Go out in the world. Get on all the podcasts. Start a YouTube channel. Go and tell the world. You're ready now. You're ready to go. I don't understand it. I don't understand science. But you do. You can combine science and woo-woo shit and go out and tell the people. They need it so badly. They're lost. The little lambs are lost. Oh, I can't get over this, man, right? You're Jesus of philosophy. Yes, go and tell them about it.
And I think as time goes on, I see it happening to you already. I think as time goes on, this piece will gradually emerge in your experience. And I don't its absence, I do not in any way consider to be a failure of your understanding. I think it's necessary for you to be able to do what you are doing so beautifully in the world.
Yes, but you've got work to do in the meantime, Bernardo. That's just
No, look, I mean, this what Rupert is saying, of course, instills hope in me. But even if Rupert is wrong, and what I'm going to say now will seem like a contradiction, but there is a sense in which it's not a contradiction. I am in peace with my lack of peace.
Exactly.
If you know what I mean.
Yes.
So doesn't that mean you're at peace?
You're in... come on, man. What is this? I'm in peace with my lack of peace? I'm satisfied that I'm satisfied that I can get no satisfaction. I can sing 2 songs. One is I can get no satisfaction, so it's going to be the other one. Oh, I'm satisfied that I cannot get any satisfaction. I came up with that, sorry, but he's at peace with that he's not at peace. I mean, if you want to fuck with people's mind and, shovel sophist shit in their face, right? Then you have to say something like, I'm at peace with not being at peace. Settled. Done it, man, right? Oh, man.
In a way.
In a way, I don't double my suffering by not being in peace with the suffering. Because if you're suffering and then you tell yourself, but I should not be suffering, then you just multiply it by 2. You just make it worse. No, I don't make it worse. I don't.
By 2, why not 5? Or why not 1.3? Or pi?
I don't have that voice telling me I should not suffer. I am in peace with my suffering. It's part of nature. I'm aware life is sacrificial. I'm opening a door here.
Sacrificial? Sacrificial? What do you mean? You're going to die? You're sacrificed on the altar of eternity or something like that. I mean, what what the hell are we doing here, man? Oh man, they are at the highest, the highest, what's it called? The highest moat chamber in the highest tower of the cloud castle, man. The kid can't get any more cloudy than this. Woo-woo, and oh my fucking God, man.
That is a rabbit hole. But I am okay with it. I do suffer, but I don't make it worse than it needs to be.
Yeah, and you don't personalize it, Rupert.
You're absolutely right, Bernardo. It would appear superficially to be a contradiction for what I'm saying, but it's not. It's another way of expressing beautifully what I'm saying, and this is what is meant by Ananda.
If most people in the world are suffering, why are we interested in hearing about your suffering, right? I mean, apparently you worked for big companies most of your life. I'm not talking about Bernardo Kastrup. I don't know too much about Spira, right? He worked in big companies. He has made probably millions of euros, right? He has a war chest the size of Manhattan or something like that. Scrooge McDuck, I don't know, right? If you are a big shot in one of the big tech companies in Europe, you're making big money, right? What kind of suffering does he have compared to the rest of the world, right? I'm not going to listen to any suffering. I'm sorry if he has tinnitus and it's a bitch, right? I would have sympathy for that. But beyond that, I mean, he can sit there in front of his computer and talk to the world and feel good about himself, right? That smirky, face there again, right? He can do his little computer hobby and he can fuck his girlfriend who's a commie artist or what, right? What kind of suffering does he have? Is he suffering because he can't find meaning in life or what? Is that because we started out by talking about meaning? I mean, I have met people who have suffered, right? In any term I could use to call suffering, they have suffered. And that's way beyond what I believe that he could have suffered from this descriptions of his own, right? So why would I listen to his story about suffering, right? Why would that be any basis for any grand idea about meaning? Right? And all this woo-woo shit, I don't buy it. Where's the reduction base in this, right? Oh yeah, but it's all mind. So every time anybody asks for relation to the reduction base, he'll just say, well, everything is mind, right?
The Vedantic tradition, it's the piece that lies behind the content of our experience. It's the piece that passeth understanding, the piece that has nothing to do with what is taking place, so that your suffering is in the foreground. It's the content of your experience. And most people's experience of suffering is that takes up the full picture. But that there is this piece behind your suffering that enables you to say, I am at peace with my suffering. And I suspect that
I think there's some daddy issues here, right? If Bernardo Kastrup didn't have a father from he was 12 or so, right? He might be looking for some kind of substitute for daddy, right? So this silver fox might be tapping into. He's sitting there saying, you should go out and do this. You have been held back, but now I release you. Go out and be philosophy, Jesus, and change the world, right? He's using his eloquence and age to pretend to be some kind of, what's it called? Substitute father, you could say, right? A father figure, right? Somebody with daddy issues are potentially, daddy issues are actually mommy issues, but we can get back to that another day, right? Is more easily controlled using that missing thing in them, in their psychology, to get them to do stuff, right? Or get them to, where I'm going with this, I'm lacking a few words here, I feel. Get them hooked on something, right? If he can pretend to be some kind of daddy, some substitute daddy, right? Bernardo is more likely to do as he's told, right? Because he wants that feeling of having a Gandalf he can talk to, sort of, right? Okay, let's go.
Peace behind your suffering will grow and will progressively outshine the suffering in the foreground. That's my intuition.
Oh, yes, it will outshine. Just you wait and see. It will be much better when you have convinced the world that, the big mind out there. Oh, he's so happy that Daddy has said some nice words to him.
And as you say, even if it doesn't,
What does that mean? Two crossed fingers. What does that mean? Is that the devil sign, or what the hell is going on there?
it in a way, it doesn't matter, because our
Yeah.
lives, the meaning of our lives is so much.
I don't know. What is that? Why are you doing that? Crossing two fingers? What does that mean? I'm not into symbolism, so you tell me, please. Right? And I'm reminded about this. If you go to Bernardo Kastrup's, he has a web page where he presents all his academic stuff, right? And there's this, weapon sign or heraldic with a beaver and a key, and it smells like Illuminati and Masonry to me, right? So there's symbolism. I don't know, man. I mean, it's just weird, right? Who the hell would want shit like that, right? That's like Middle Ages or something. What kind of personalities think, well, the menu on my homepage must be, I must create a heraldic with beavers and keys to show off my whatever. Who the hell would want that in the 21st century, man? Unless you're connected to some kind of weird whatever behind the curtain.
Bigger than our own personal experience.
Now,
Life is not about me. Life is not about any one of us.
right.
Exactly. It's sacrificial, as you say. Yeah.
Now,
What?
I had a conversation.
Life is not about you or me or any of us. We are just sacrificed. Okay. So now we are going into my life. To get rid of my anxiety, I have to say, there is no meaning to my life, or my life doesn't matter. It's not about my life, it's not about your life, it's not about life. It's about being sacrificed. For what? For the bigger picture, for the big mind out there, right? The big mind had a little baby called the mental dissociation called Bernardo. And now it's going to kill its own children at some point, right? And there is no meaning to that, basically, right? Or if there's meaning, it is infused by the big mind, right? So if there's meaning, I mean, normal people can't, figure out meaning in life. But I have infused so much meaning, but then I'm being sacrificed. So it's sort of I don't even know how to represent this, man, right? Oh, this is much worse than I expected, man. Oh my God.
With a gentleman I know, and I explained in my own limited, still fairly unexpert way, the sort of awareness, the consciousness only model. And his conclusion was that it was nihilistic. That, if we are, if we don't have individuality, if we if there is just one, what is the point? And my argument against him was, well, look, I would suggest the current approach to life is you're born, you work, you die. That doesn't feel hugely meaningful. But I was wondering if you have a more sophisticated answer for that particular criticism.
Let me start. No one is denying individuality. Individuality flourishes as a result of this understanding. It is not diminished. By individuality, I mean the unique expression of each of our minds and bodies when it is liberated from the tyranny of materialism.
Okay, man. Okay, now we are bringing out the big guns, right? The tyranny of materialism. Okay. Go on a hyperbole now, right? Oh, he's like, oh, he's such a nice man. Yes, he's combed his hair. He's a silver fox with nice designer. It's very smooth skin. It's almost like, I would think it's gay, right? No worries. do with your genitals what you want, right? And then it's like the tyranny of those who are thinking differently, right? But can he come up with a good explanation or good presentation of his metaphysics? I mean, judging from what I've deconstructed here, the answer is clearly no, right? But he can, shoot the guns at the other ones saying it's tyranny, right? We have a superior hypothesis and we have a foundation called essentia. So essentia means there's only one. The one thing, one to rule them all, right?
The character flourishes.
What's a character? Right? Again, a new term. Popped in and out of the discussion here, right? Discussion, quote.
Commenting briefly on nihilism, it's a kind of, how could you...
Nihilism is mostly about morality, I would think, right? That you cannot get to any kind of moral statement. You can't get to any kind of moral principle, anything like that. I would think that that's nihilism. Whether or not that's based on materialism or idealism or some other metaphysics, I think it's thinking that it's hard to get to a definition. I mean, what have been settled by philosophers in 3,000 years, right? There's no clear understanding of metaphysics. There's no clear understanding of knowledge. There's no clear definition of truth, right? There's no clear understanding of objectivity or a moral principle. There has been attempts, but there seems to be no convergence or consensus of any kind, right? It seems we get more and more confused as the years go by, right? So it's like whenever somebody comes up with, I have seen the light. Here, this is the way everybody should think. I'm sort of, okay, I'm willing to listen, but I'm goddamn fucking going to take this, very meticulously and deconstruct it to the nth degree to make sure that you're not shitting me, that you're not a crazy idiot, right? Otherwise, I'm not buying it, right? All this woo-woo shit you have dished out now, right, without any clarification of terms of any real significance, right? Or all this woo-woo, man, right? And then the other guys, they are, it's tyranny. They are imposing tyranny on us. And I bet you, they're going to blame capitalism. They're going to say materialism is, you can only think about stuff. You can only think about buying stuff. And that will make you happy, right? Something like that. And therefore, it's a tyranny. The capitalist wants to tyrannize you. And therefore, we must have some collective, right? And that will be communism, right? We need communism. Fuck off, man. I'll eat my straw hat if that's not where we're going, right?
It's what Pasolini said about the purpose of his films. I'm trying to restore to reality its original sacred significance.
Hang on.
Rupert Bernardo, lovely to see
damn.
you, Death. First of all, Rupert, then.
How far did I get?
From the
namely happiness, in objective experience, this cracked my world. I think it's continued, it's been perpetuated simply because it seems to be consistent with the way we perceive. As Einstein said,
19th century, halfway in the 19th century, direction of the world, or 10.
I have to find that spot again.
Rupert, I'm going to give you two questions and take your pick. Do you either want to say something about the pulling the territory out of the map that sort of analogy, or the fact that this habit has continued over the last.
Common sense, the evidence of our common sense perceptions are a series of prejudices about to be explicable by this paradigm. It seems to hold up until you start questioning it. Now, what is it that causes most people to question it? Suffering, contrary, my interest.
Choosing to live in accordance with it, and I know you
to put a number on it, but
he didn't lose his center. The banality, the mean.
I feel compelled to say something here, and I've said it, Bernardo. I have always felt with you, Bernardo, that a unique role in the world of this understanding, precisely to keep you motivated to do what you are supposed to be doing in the world. And I don't in any, its absence, I do not in any.
Yes, but you've got work to do in the meantime, Bernardo. That's just
No, look, I mean, this, what Rupert is saying, of course, instills hope by not being in peace to be.
Yeah, and you don't.
And this is what is meant by Ananda in the Vedantic tradition. It's the peace that lies behind the content of peace. Behind your suffering will grow much bigger than our own personal experience.
Now,
life is not about me. Life is not about anyone.
I explained in my own limited.
Sorry that I have to retrace this. I pushed the hard back button rather than slightly backward, right? So sorry about that.
This only model, and his conclusion was that it was nihilistic. That if we are, this is the point. I was wondering if you.
So no one is denying individuality. Individuality flourishes as a result of this understanding. It is not diminished. By individuality, I mean the unique expression of each of our minds and bodies when it is liberated from the tyranny of materialism. The character flourishes. Just commenting briefly on nihilism, it's a kind of, how could you, it's what Pasolini said about the purpose of his films. I'm trying to restore to reality its original sacred significance. This is not a diminishing. It's a kind of, how could you, it's what Pasolini said about the purpose of his films. I'm trying to restore to reality its original sacred significance.
Restore to reality its sacred significance. Right? Its sacred significance. Now, I might add a few notes on Pasolini. Now, I'm a bit of a film buff myself, right? Now, he does this like, Pasolini is that name dropping, right? This like, oh, I'm so artistic, I'm into art, right? I don't even have to explain to anybody. It's like, it's everybody who's into art, of course, knows who Pasolini is, right? I don't have to explain anything. Pasolini was an Italian poet turned film director in the 60s, 70s, 50s, 60s, mostly 60s and early 70s, right? He was a gay communist Christian. Now, I have nothing against gay people, right? But I do have something against communists, and I do have something against being Christian, right? I'm not trying to fight people who have thinkings like that, but they are not helping the situation, right? All the countries that were major forces in the big wars of the 20th century, they were all Christian or even Catholic countries like Russia, Italy, Spain, France participated, Germany was a big thing, right? They were all semi-Catholic or Catholic, all of them. And from that evolved, as I've said many times, totalitarianism. Was it communism or fascism? Who gives a crap? It's the same shit, right? But of course he's turned, communist. Maybe because, that was what you did if you were against the fascists, right? This guy, he was fucking sick, right? And I might add that he was killed while he was fucking some, a young male prostitute, right? There's some weird circumstances there that haven't been fully clarified, right? He made some atrocious movies, right? Now, I don't mind, going out on a limb in movies. I like strange movies, but I like something that is with some taste, right? He's not a good director, right? I've seen the Gospel According to Matthew, which is an atrociously badly filmed movie with amateurs running around in the desert and right? But most notably, he made a movie called Salo, 120 Days of Sodomy or something like that, right? You can SALO, right? With young girls getting captured and young boys getting, selected by the size of their dick, and they're eating shit on movies, and, this level of depravity. I don't mind stuff that is sort of half disgusting, you could say, right? The shower scene in Hitchcock's Psycho is tastefully made, while it's a disgusting event, right? So this balance between cinematography and the story is conveyed, but he went for this has to be disgusting in a way that I think that's a guy like what's he called? Pulp Fiction, right? The Pulp Fiction dude. I forget the name. I'm getting old. Tarantino, right? That this his shitty personality comes across through his movies, right? As does it in Pasolini's movie, right? Should I make any connection here, right? Gay, communist, Christian, right? Spira even looks a bit like him, right? You might Google it, right? I don't know, but now I wouldn't lean up against. I know I'm a movie buff, right? I know about these old dudes and the old directors and so on, at least to some extent, right? I don't know. I haven't seen all movies, far from it, right? But you like the classics, right? Oh man, this is one deep dive, man.
This is not a diminishing of reality. It's an upgrading of reality. Yes, it's nihilistic in a very limited sense, in that it denies the discrete, independently existing objects made out of matter that is the foundation of the materialist model. It denies, so it starts with a denial. Yes, that things don't exist in and of themselves. But there's much more. That's just a preparation.
What does he mean? That's fucking a big claim, right? That's a monster of a statement. So why do I have these experiences if none of it exists? I mean, okay, but what do you mean by, somebody came up with existence because it makes some kind of sense, right? It's not to fool you. Do I exist? What do you mean? When you look at me, if you don't exist, why the hell are you talking to the camera and so on, right? It starts to become a little problematic, this, I think, right? It's sort of, I'm going to talk a lot about metaphysics, but nothing exists. No things exist. It's only ripples and... I like, okay, get the fuck away from me, right?
Much more to this understanding. To this, it's not just a denial of the reality of appearances. It is the penetration through appearances, the recognition of their reality. So it is
penetration through. Oh, yeah. We are getting close to this moment when he's sticking in his arm through the impenetrable wall of experience, right? He's going to tell you there's a God out there, and it's the big mind and all this shit, right? And we are going to have to become communists and things like that. And capitalism is pure evil, something like that. I can feel it like,
Story to reality. It's, if I can use religious language, it's sacred nature.
Oh, yes. By the way, I could use religious language, right? Ooh, that's why they're bringing this, sneaking it through the back door, right? Oh, let me just start to use some religious language. So now you're being groomed to be sort of religious, right? Ooh.
It's universal nature. And this gentleman you spoke to may have got this idea that this perennial non-dual understanding is nihilistic by listening to some contemporary expressions of this understanding on the non-dual scene that simply demolish, that are nihilistic, that just deny that there is anything apart from this our current experience. These are misrepresentations of this understanding and do lead.
Oh, okay. So now we're going to some kind of semi-Platonism where this is not the real thing. This is just the weird theater on your inner living room walls, right? Out there is the real thing. That's the real meaning and the real life. And if you can tap into that, then you will be, you will have meaning. And you will have, this is the fucking oldest trick in the book, right? That's what all these sophists do. That's what sophists, not even sophists, but yeah, these semi-mystic philosophers, right? To some extent, Plato, I mean, even Socrates, right? Or, Berkeley, and these I'm tapping into the big mind, right? I'm sorry you can't go there. I am special. I can go there, right? And I'm going to tell you that's where happiness is. So you have to wait until you're being sacrificed till you can go there, right? You little sad little peon, right?
To nihilistic conclusions. And then everybody on the internet, everybody says, oh, well, everybody's just saying the same thing and expressing the same understanding. No, that's not true. They're not. It all comes under the umbrella of non-duality. But if you look carefully, you have extreme opposite understandings purporting to be the same recognition. So this gentleman, I would suggest, that has either misunderstood what is being said or has been watching the wrong videos.
Oh, the wrong videos, yes. They can't control themselves. They have gone and done something they're not allowed to. And there are people out there that's trying to fool you into believing stuff that is not correct. How dare they, right? You should only listen to our channel because we're the right thinkers, right? All those tyrannizers out there, they're making videos that is supposed to catch you into capitalism and grab you and take advantage of you, and you will never have a life and you will never find meaning. And they're all laughing like, oh my God, I've solved it. I've done it. Yes. Jehovah. Oh.
Bernardo, how has this understanding then infused your own life with meaning, so that anyone listening could perhaps?
I think we'll keep this to the next one. I have to take a break from this, at least a small break, right? Until I do the next one, right? So I'm thrown a bit off now because it has gone into I sort of knew that it was going to be like this. It starts slowly. We are talking about perceptions and experiences and so on. And then all of a sudden it accelerates into, that's one big mind. And half of the world is thinking like this. It's like it's going from this to the half of the size of the universe, right? It like this. Hey, I done it. I solved it, man. Right? Don't listen to those tyrannizers. Okay, done it. Goodbye. Oh man, what fucking crackpots, man. I mean, do you believe this shit, man? Can you believe this? Oh man, okay. Share, like, and subscribe, please, and consider donation. Right, links below and so on. Join the board. Otherwise, see you in the next one.